I want to welcome us to this School of Transformational Leadership. We are in a personal uh, leadership journey for neighborhood transformation. We began this uh, curriculum in the month of April, and we are just about to get to the end of the class. I believe by today we should have almost completed the module 4 of the curriculum. Then we will have module 5 remaining for us to go through. So I want to welcome you once again, and I believe each and every one of us, we have been learning and then utilizing those things, those skills, those knowledge, those information we've been hearing, and I believe we are already utilizing them in our life. Like I do tell people, if you go through this school of transformational leadership, the entire curriculum, and your life is not transformed, just tell me to my face that what we are doing is rubbish, and don't you ever recommend it to any other person. But I am confident that what we have as a curriculum is not just going to bless you, it is going to change your life. And it will not just change your life, it will make you to effect a transformational change within your community. That I am very sure of, that I am very certain. So I want you to keep yourself together and relax, because we have a great days ahead of us.
Recording in progress.
So today we are going to study intentional growth adventure from humble start. Last week we talked about the attitude and the footprints of a growth-minded leader. This is part of the topics under Module 4, and the Module 4 is looking at becoming a growth-oriented leader. So the essence of this Module 4 is to put you on the path of becoming a growth-oriented leader. So today we are going to go into the second topic, which is intentional growth adventure from humble starts. Now, I'd like you to know that your growth is not going to be automatic. Growth does not happen automatically. You have to intentionally make it happen. Growth does not happen just because you have to grow. Growth happens because you have set certain laws in motion for growth to happen in your life. Somebody said a statement, and it has blessed me for more than 20 years now since I've come across that statement. It was one of the book written by Napoleon Hill, how to develop, I can't really remember the title of the book very well, but it's something on positive mental attitude. That is the title of the book. And in that book, Napoleon Hill made a statement, and he said, the only venture you start from the top is digging a hole or a grave. Come to think of it, which other venture do you want to start in this world? I'm not talking about out of this world. In this world that we all live in, which venture, which business do you want to start from the top other than digging a hole or digging a grave? So That tells you that if you want to be at the top or at the pinnacle of your career in life, there is a place for little beginning. There is a place for small beginning. There is a place for humble beginning. So even though we are talking about intentional growth, we are talking about experiencing rapid growth, everyday growth, I like you to know that this growth we are talking about will always start small. It will always start with humble beginning. And that brings me to the story of the Chinese bamboo tree. Uh, in this topic that we are treating today, I want to practically take you through a process of how you can succeed like the Chinese bamboo tree. Well, if you look into the screen, you will see a bamboo tree. I'm not sure if this is different from what we have in Nigeria, but sometimes I wonder why they call it Chinese bamboo tree, because if you go to Nigeria, you go to some other West African countries, you'll find, probably maybe in some other countries, African countries too, you'll find a lot of these bamboo trees all over the place. So I keep wondering why it is called Chinese bamboo tree. But the true story about the Chinese bamboo tree is that when you plant a Chinese bamboo tree, for the first 4 years of planting that tree, you plant it, you fertilize it, you water it, sunshine on it, you clear the ground around it, you keep tending it, you keep watering it, you keep nurturing it, you keep caring for it for 4 good years. There is no growth that occurs to the Chinese bamboo tree. If you are a farmer who is very impatient, in fact, after 4 years, you might be tempted to even uproot the Chinese bamboo tree and declare that probably maybe there is no future for the bamboo tree. But the amazing thing about the Chinese bamboo tree is that in the 5th year, remember the first 4 years, year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, nothing happens to the Chinese bamboo tree. But in the 5th year, after 6 weeks, 6 weeks in the 5th year, after 6 weeks in the 5th year, the Chinese bamboo tree can grow as far as 80 to 90 feet in just 6 weeks. In just 6 weeks, the Chinese bamboo tree can grow as much as 80 to 90 feet in 6 weeks. And that brings me to what an unknown author says. He says, change is inevitable. Whether you like it or not, change is happening to all of us. This was not the way you are 5 years ago. Changes has occurred to you. The kind of information you know today are not the exact information you had 5 years ago. Change has happened to you. So change is inevitable. It's happening to all of us. It's happening to me. It's happening to you. Whether you like it, whether you don't like it, whether you pay attention to it, whether you don't pay attention to it, we are all experiencing change every day. But however, it is only growth that is intentional. It is only growth that is intentional. So, what I want you to do through today's lesson is for you to defy human logic by accomplishing the impossible through your compounded growth efforts. So, I'd like you to make up your mind that beginning from this moment that you are taking this class and this lesson, And for the next 5 years, you want to put yourself on an intentional growth plan. That you want to put yourself on an intentional growth trajectory. And then after 5 years, come back to me and tell me what has happened to you. You will discover that your experience will be exactly the way it happened to the Chinese bamboo tree. And this is why Charlie Jones says 5 years from today, you will be the same person you are today, except for two things: the books you read and the people you meet. So the kind of information that is coming your way is very, very vital for your growth. And the kind of people you meet every day of your life, they are very, very crucial for your growth. So those are the two things that will determine what and where, what will happen to you in the next 5 years and where you will be in the next 5 years. The people you meet and the kind of books you are reading. So now let's try to do a little bit examination of what we are talking about. Now, what we are saying is that we are trying to compare and contrast mushroom growth. I believe we all know mushroom. You can see it on the screen. Mushroom. How many days does it take a mushroom to grow? Overnight. It takes mushroom just 24 hours to grow. So we want to compare mushroom growth versus mushroom growth. A kind of mushroom growth is a kind of growth that you put yourself on for at least 5 years to start with. That is the kind of mushroom growth that we are talking about. So we are talking about 5 years intentional growth plan versus overnight growth plan. We want to do a comparison with the results that we will generate using these two principles of growth. Now, for mushroom growth, of course, you know that mushroom does not have a very solid root. It has no solid stems. It has no leaves. And of course, the future of a mushroom is that there is no future for it. But when we talk about mushroom growth, that is a growth that has a lot of capacity for development, like the Chinese bamboo tree. You are talking about you developing a strong root system. For the first 4 years of the Chinese bamboo life, do you know what the Chinese bamboo tree was doing during those 4 years? It was busy building a strong root system. The Chinese bamboo tree was busy building an identity for itself. The Chinese bamboo tree was busy building character for itself. The Chinese bamboo tree was building resilience, focus, and patience. And of course, after 5 years, Chinese bamboo tree becomes the envy for everyone to see. So I want to particularly talk about what happens to you when you place yourself on a 5 years growth plan. I want to talk about you building an identity for yourself. Now, for example, this school of transformational leadership that I am doing today has been a long time idea in my mind since when I was an undergraduate. That was over 20 years ago. Now, because I had nurtured this idea for a long time, I had taken so many years to consistently build a kind of identity for myself that is now giving me the enablement to be able to do what I am doing. That is what intentional growth plan does for you. It enables you to build an identity. For example, what you see me do with School of Transformational Leadership, you cannot find it anywhere. You cannot see anybody doing exactly the same thing that we are doing in School of Transformational Leadership. That is how to build an identity for yourself. And that is what happens to you when you put yourself on an intentional growth plan for at least 5 years to begin with. Now, here are the things you need to take note of when you are planning for your growth and self-development, because your growth and self-development has everything to do with you. Your success, your greatness, where you will be tomorrow, everything is anchored on your growth and your development. If you are not growing, you cannot succeed. If you are not self-developing yourself, you cannot be among great men. If you want to be among great men, you have to begin the work that great men do by setting yourself aside to study and by keeping company with people that will transform your life. So these are the things you need to take note of when you are planning for your growth and self-development. Number one, you need to avoid distraction. There are so many things that can distract you today. You have friends who are not going anywhere, who wants you to be in their company. They can be there to want to distract you. You need to put them aside. There are all kinds of people around you who may want to cause distraction. There is distraction of social media. There are so many distractions out there. You want to avoid those distractions so that your growth can be steady and then can be consistent. Another thing you need to take note of as you plan your growth and self-development is that you need to remember that growth begins from where you are, not where you are not. No, it will be very suicidal for you to say you want to begin from where I am, for example. You can't begin from where I am because you don't know where I started from. I did not just start what I am doing today. I have started this process that you are seeing me executing today more than 20 years ago. So you want to start from where you are, not where you are not. Another thing you need to take note of is that you need to pay attention to life goals and assignments that gives you the most desirable peace. You want to pursue those assignments, those life goals that gives you peace. Anything that does not gives you peace, I want to beg you to do away with them. Pay attention to only those assignments that gives you genuine serenity and comfort of heart. Number 4, the fourth thing you need to take note of when you are planning your growth and self-development is to learn to use your imagination. Your imagination, somebody says, is your way of forming image in your mind. That is what you do with your mind. You are forming images with your mind. And I like to tell you, or I like to let you know, that growth and development is practically impossible without the active use of your mind. There is no man, no woman that can experience growth, the kind of growth we are talking about, the kind of Chinese bamboo tree growth that we are talking about, who does not know how to use his mind, how to creatively engage his mind. And number 5, the 5th thing you need to do when you plan for your growth and self-development is that you have to be futuristic in your thinking. You have to be able to look ahead. You have to be able to look into the future. You have to spend most of your time living in the future that you are not yet in. Your growth result should not end with you, but rather it must be passed on to the next generation. You have to look at how you can consolidate on your legacy by passing the baton to the next generation. So let's talk about the danger of rapid growth without structural depth. And I know by now you know that the rapid growth I'm talking about is the mushroom growth that we spoke about earlier on. You know, mushroom growth is a rapid growth, is an overnight growth, is a growth that occurs within 24 hours. I have seen a lot of people who wants to do all their growth, all their self-development. They just want to set aside just one day and they want to do everything in a day. It doesn't happen that way. In fact, if it is just 1 hour every day you set aside for your growth and development, and you do it every day, you spend that 1 hour every day, I tell you, after 5 years, your life will be transformed. So what are the dangers of rapid growth without structural depth? Number 1, you will face the risk of desolation or losing it all. You can see the image of what we are talking about on the screen. You can see that tree being uprooted from the root, and you can see from the root that there is no much depth in the roots. There is no depth, and that is why just a little wind can uproot the tree right from the roots. So if you don't want to lose it all, if you don't want to face desolation in your life, you have to engage in a long-term growth rather than involving yourself in a rapid growth. You have to plan your growth on a long-term basis rather than on a quick fix basis. Another danger of rapid growth without structural depth is that it makes your adversities to multiply very quickly. You suddenly discover that too many things will be against you when you are not putting in place an enduring growth for yourself. Any little thing can just set you off your feet. Number 3, you will risk experiencing sudden death, either metaphorically or in reality. Look at that tree that is on the tree, that is on the screen. That is a sudden death for that tree. Either you want to look at it metaphorically or you want to look at it in reality. That is what happens when we engage or when we condone rapidity in our growth rather than taking the time out to really stretch out ourselves to really grow intentionally. Number 4, your output will not be with top-notch quality. When you are the type of person or individual who is only interested in rapid growth, the quality of your output will not be top-notch. It will be substandard. It will not be authentic. It will not be original. It will not be durable. So you want to watch the kind of effort you are putting into your growth so that the quality of your output can be improved upon. When you are the type of person or individual who is only interested in rapid growth, the quality of your output will not be top notch. It will be substandard. It will not be authentic. It will not be original. It will not be durable. So you want to watch the kind of effort you are putting into your growth so that the quality of your output can be improved upon. Now, the reason you need a comprehensive growth, for example, is because your problem will not all go in 1 year. That is very certain. That is the number one reason why you need a comprehensive growth. Your problem will not go away in 1 year. It will require consistent growth, input every day for them to completely vanish away. That is why you need an enduring growth. That is why you need a comprehensive growth, because all the problems you have is not going to be solved in 1 year. But when you engage yourself in a comprehensive growth, it gives you the opportunity to be able to overrun your problem until they are completely vanished from your sight. For those of us who are of the Christian religious faith, we can see what God told Moses in Exodus 23:29-30. He said, I will not drive out from before thee in 1 year. That is all the enemies, lest the land becomes desolate and the beasts of the field multiply against you. He said, by little and little I will drive them out from before thee until thou be increased and inherit the land. So your problem is not going to go away in 1 year or in 1 day. It's going to go away little by little. And for it to continue to go away little by little every day, you have to embrace a comprehensive growth strategy. Also, Isaiah 66 verse 8 says, who has seen such a thing? Can a country be born in a day, or a nation be brought forth in a moment? For example, what we are doing through School of Transformational Leadership is to raise transformational leaders that will bring transformation to our African society. But the question is, will the problem of Africa go in 1 day or in 1 year? The answer is no. You cannot make a country to be brought forth in just a day or in just a moment. It will take daily effort. It will take consistent effort to be able to bring the transformation that we are all yearning for all across the continent of Africa. Now, I want to teach you on how to make your growth a steady growth. So, we want to talk about how to experience steady and personal incremental growth. So, as you engage in the act of intentional growth every day of your life, this is how to make your growth steady and incremental as you do that. Number one, you have to self-discover yourself. Every growth, every incremental growth you will ever experience in your life is going to be dependent on your self-discovery. So you need to discover yourself and what you are truly good at, that people will be willing to pay you for, so that through that you can now begin to experience the growth we are talking about. I'd like you to know that in life, we are always confronted with this existential question of who we are. I remember many years ago, I spent a lot of time asking myself who I am, who I was. I spent a lot of time asking myself who I was, what was I born to fulfill in this world? Why am I here? I spent a lot of time doing that. And the more I asked that question, the more I began to self-discover myself. And I like to tell you that when you ask yourself this kind of question, the answer you get to these questions are the very first steps towards your personal growth. Another thing you need to do to experience steady and personal incremental growth is to grow to become a respectable leader. Don't become a lousy person. Don't become somebody who does not have a consequence. Grow yourself to become a respectable leader. Let people see you and see you as somebody with a difference. Let there be a mark of distinction around and upon your life. Number 3, I'd like you not to despise the day of little beginning. There is nothing you are going to become in life that you will need to start big. For example, this School of Transformational Leadership that we are doing is a little seed today, but I can tell you it's going to be a mighty oak tree in the nearest future. So don't be ashamed to start small. Don't be ashamed to begin with little, because like they say, little drops of water makes a mighty ocean. So do not despise the day of little beginning. All you need to do is to be consistent. Continue to put in your maximum effort. And of course, the results will definitely show forth in no time. Number 4, you need to strive towards your goal despite the attack of your critics. You see, there is nothing you will do in this life that you will not have critics. Even if you do nothing, you will still have critics. So whether you want to be great or you don't want to be great, whether you want to walk or you don't want to walk, whether you want to be a servant or you don't want to be a servant, whatever you have decided to become a life, you will always have people criticizing you. But I have some advice for you concerning critics. There are 2 things I want you to do about your critics. Number 1, I'd like you to know that critics helps us to clarify our goals and purpose in life. So don't always ignore them. That is one thing that our critics can do for us on a positive note. They can help us to clarify our goals and our purpose in life. When your critics begin to criticize you, the question you should be asking yourself is that, am I really doing this thing according to what is genuinely true to me? Am I being authentic with what I'm doing? Does what I am doing truly reflect who I am? Does it reflect my purpose in life? Does it reflect what I have been called to do in life? So that is one of the things that critics helps us to do. They help us to clarify our goals and our purpose. Another thing you should do about your critics is that you should inwardly, you don't have to commend them for criticizing you, but you should inwardly affirm your critics, particularly when they have helped you grow. Inwardly affirm it and move on with your life, but let them keep busy doing their work, because it is you who knows that sometimes the job of a critic is to help you clarify your goal and your purpose in life. The 5th thing you need to do to experience steady and personal incremental growth is to serve others and not wait to be served. Serve others and not wait to be served. Now, let's talk about the 5 active ingredients for your personal growth. 5 active ingredients for your personal growth. Number 1, you have to nurture yourself. Now, the reason why I say you have to nurture yourself is because nobody, and I mean it, nobody is going to do it for you. You have to nurture yourself. You have to tell yourself, I must grow every day. You must wake up every day with the consciousness of growth mindedness. Number 2, you have to constantly learn, unlearn, and relearn. In life, there are things to learn. There are things to unlearn, particularly when you have some bad behaviors that needs to be unlearned. And there are things to relearn, things that you have learned before, but maybe due to some certain condition or situation, you are beginning to forget them. There is no crime in relearning them. So those are the 3 things you need to do for you to continually experience growth. You need to learn, unlearn, and relearn. Number 3, you have to maintain a flexible mindset. Don't be rigid, in other words. Always be flexible. You see, the society that we are in today does not call for rigidity. If you ask me 20 years ago that will what I am doing today be the way I had thought we were going to be doing the School of Transformational Leadership, I would have said no. But because of flexibility, because of not being rigid, we have been able to adapt our ideas and our purpose and our dreams according to what the reality says should be the case. So don't be rigid, be flexible, have a flexible mindset. Number 4, you have to pursue personal growth with energy. You have to pursue personal growth with energy. Number 5, you have to engage in strategic nourishment to experience healthy growth. What do I mean by strategic nourishment? What I meant is that for you to grow, you have to grow strategically. It's not that any kind of books you see, that is what you will read. You have to read strategically. You have to read books that will increase your competency. You have to read books that will increase your capacity. You have to read books that will improve on your skills. Not just any books that you see on the table. You have to read strategically. You have to engage when you embark on a growth plan. The first fruit of your growth plan is that you increase in wisdom. You also increase in knowledge. You also increase in your understanding. That is the first benefit of engaging in a growth plan. Wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Number 2, it helps you to fulfill your dreams. There is fulfillment of dreams. That is the second greatest return on your growth plan. Your dreams are fulfilled. Number 3, you encounter what I call the fullness of joy. Your joy knows no boundary. You experience the fullness of joy. Number 4, you experience the peace of mind. That is what growth plan enables you to enjoy as a benefit. There is peace of mind. And number 5, it helps you to establish a worthwhile legacy by growing others. It helps you to establish a worthwhile legacy by growing old. It is expressed in the choices one makes. In the long run, we shape our lives and we shape ourselves. The process never ends until we die. And the choices we make are ultimately our own responsibility. You know, some people, when they are talking about their personal philosophy, they think personal philosophy is something you write on a book or you write somewhere and keep somewhere. And you begin to tell people that this is my personal philosophy in life. That is not how personal philosophies are made. Personal philosophies are made through choices. And we have to make these choices every day of our life until we die. You have to, every day you wake up, you make those choices. And when you are able to make these choices, it will help you on your growth journey. So, what are the 7 choices that I believe that we all need to habitually make on our growth journey? Number 1, you need to choose to be happy regardless of your prevailing situation. You need to choose to be happy regardless of your prevailing situation. Number 2, you need to choose integrity over dishonesty. You need to choose integrity over dishonesty. Number 3, you need to choose your friends wisely. I spoke about that earlier on. You don't allow friends who are not going anywhere to influence you negatively or to impact your life negatively. So you need to choose your friends wisely. He who walks with the wise will be wise, but he who walks with the fools shall be destroyed. So you need to choose your friends wisely. Any friends that will not hurt to you, you have to do away with them. Number 4, you need to read widely and strategically. I'm re-emphasizing that. You need to read widely and yet strategically. Number 5, you need to choose to speak affirmative words instead of words that disempowers you. You need to speak affirmative words instead of words that disempowers you. Number 6, you need to choose to excel in all your endeavors. There should be no room for feeling of defeat. You need to choose to excel in all your endeavor. Excellence must be your watchword. You must desire to excel in everything that you set your hands upon to do. There should never be any feeling of defeat whatsoever. Number 7, you need to choose to trust in God and not in man. You need to choose to trust in God and not in man. Now, we are going to talk about 2 major causes of ineffective growth. When you see these 2 causes, these 2 things that I want to talk about, they often cause us to experience ineffective growth in our life. Number 1 is fear. Fear. And I've decided to do it, to treat fear as an acronym. I was reading a success magazine many years ago, and I got a very powerful definition from that success magazine. And they said fear is false evidence appearing real. False, F, evidence, E, appearing, A, real, R. If you put the acronyms together, it gives you the word fear. So that is what fear is. Many of the things we fear don't even happen, or will never even happen in our life. So it is a false evidence that is appearing to be real. One reason for ineffective growth is fear, especially the fear of the unknown. It is one of the reasons for ineffective growth. So there are 4 possible actions to take when we experience fear. There are 4 possible actions any of us can possibly take when we experience fear. Number 1, some people, when they experience fear, what happens to them is that they freeze. And by freezing, they focus on the fearful stimulus to decide what to do next. When some people fear, they freeze. Whereas when some other people fear, they fight. How? By deciding to deal with the threat directly. Humans do this. Even animals too, they do it often. They either fight back when they are being threatened, or you see them retreat when they are being threatened. So these are common to even animal in the animal kingdom. It is also very common. Another possible actions that we can take when we experience fear is that sometimes we can decide to take a flight. We flee away or run away from the threatening situation. You see that happening to every one of us all the time. But what the most important thing is that when you are fearing, you need to understand where you need to flee, where you need to fight, and where you need to freeze, and where you need to flight. But the last one, which I'm going to talk about, is fright. That is when you are truly terrified by the situation. But however, when you are continuously in this mode, it can lead to hopelessness and depression. So you don't want to be in a fright mode for too long. Because when you are in a fright mode for too long, it can lead you to hopelessness and depression. So those are the 4 possible actions that we can take when we fear. Now, the second major cause of ineffective growth is inferiority complex. Inferiority complex, or if you like the Bible uses it in the book of Numbers, it is also called a grasshopper mentality. Grasshopper mentality. Inferiority complex or grasshopper mentality. Now, there are 2 remedies to take care of this inferiority complex or grasshopper mentality. Number 1, you need to prepare, and prepare. Somebody said good preparation prevents poor performance. When you prepare very, very well, there is no way inferiority complex can have a place in your life. Another remedy for inferiority complex is that you have to face your fear. You have to face your fear. Don't always run away from your fear. You have to face it to conquer it. You have to face it to conquer it. And the number 3 remedy for inferiority complex is that you have to decide that your personal growth is a necessity. Now, for me, I made that decision many, many years ago. And in fact, I can tell you the very day I made that decision. I made a decision about my growth, my personal growth, on December 1, 1996. That was the day I made the decision that from this moment, I am going to put myself on an intentional growth trajectory, going to do everything that it takes for me to grow myself mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. And I've been doing that ever since that time. and I am not about to retire. And I will still continue to do that till I draw my last breath. So you want to decide that your personal growth is going to be a necessity in your life. Now, I've come to the end of the class. I'd just like to end by saying what John Henry Newman said. Henry Newman said, growth is the only evidence of life. You see, where there is growth, there will be life. Where there is no growth, there will be chaos. There will be problems. There will be, you just name it, there will be all kinds of unimaginable things that you cannot even believe. But wherever you see growth, either naturally or mentally or spiritually, there will be life. So for you to have life, for you to truly live, you have to engage on a daily growth plan.